Raziel, the immortal wraith, the redeemer and destroyer, a living paradox from the video game series Legacy of Kain. Now, I promise this will be about martial arts, but this is an amazing franchise with rich storytelling, Shakespearean writing, and larger-than-life characters. In terms of presentation and storytelling, it was way ahead of its time. It's truly a masterful series. And us being martial artists and huge geeks and nerds, we want to break down the set of fighting techniques performed by this character, Raziel. Now, I know that's a super nerdy thing to do, but welcome to Martial Geeks. That's what we're all about. Alright, let's break this down. Now, why this game was chosen? It's not because of martial arts. It does feature martial arts in it, but it's really not a key component in any way. First thing that sort of gave birth to this idea is the fact that we do see a lot of martial artists on YouTube break down famous fight scenes from movies, video games, TV, whatever. And more often than not, it's really focused on media, stories that have martial arts as an integral part. And I thought about what would be cool is to check out fights from media that doesn't have martial arts as a focus. Now, this first video that we're doing is for personal reasons mostly. It's not the best example of this concept, but I absolutely love this video game series. It's one of my absolute favorite things on this planet. It was super influential in terms of art that I was drawn to. And I've never seen anyone do this. And the funniest thing is, going through this game, well, in fact, 5 games, but we're going to focus on only a few, is that there's plenty of cool martial arts things to discuss. And since none of us are really weapons experts at all, we'll be breaking down the hand-to-hand fighting.
If you'd prefer I use my bare hands.
And this will be explicitly focused on the character of Raziel. And for that, we'll really look at 2 games, Soul Reaver and Soul Reaver 2. We're not going to go with the final one, Defiance, where you do play as Raziel, but the problem is that in that game, Raziel's always wielding his phantom weapon, the Soul Reaver Wraith Blade. And besides having that weapon, he's just doing insane acrobatic stuff that's not possible for any of us to do. What we definitely can evaluate in terms of reality is hand-to-hand stuff. Even though in his case it's more claws to hand because of the 3-finger claws that these guys have. But in any case, I think this might be a super fun thing to do. And later down the line, we might actually break down completely different media that also has either bad or good martial arts in places that you wouldn't expect to find good martial arts. But for now, let's look at the Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and Soul Reaver 2, Raziel's hand-to-hand combat. Oh, yeah, and we can do that here, so let's go to the gym. Alright, now we are at the gym. This is a different gym because we train in 2 places, so this time we're looking at yellow floor. Anyways, what we got here is a perfect semi-cosplay replica for the thing that we need to do today. So first, what I want to take a look is the first ever pre-rendered fight scene that we see in the intro of Soul Reaver 2. And let's break down that one first, then we'll look at the gameplay movements and shit. What is realistic about this and what isn't? What do you think? So now we got perfect, Shakespearean, swearing.
Claws, that's not the realistic.
Yes, but let's consider that. Let's take that into account. So, watch the way he steps. Now I see a crucial problem. We're just going to ignore the fact that after he does one swipe, the other swipe, the cane flies straight, which makes no sense.
No sense.
We can maybe attribute that to telekinesis, maybe.
Shall we?
Yes. Let us continue our conversation.
But the bigger problem I have, if you notice, what he does is he slashes this way.
That is even good for the first step.
Right, because I'm thinking if it was a punch, doing this sucks. Because you don't have the power, your leg needs to stay back.
Yeah.
But if you have claws,
yeah, so
why not slash?
It has to make sense.
He did this one slash, then he moved his entire body to deliver the spin. Most people think like, oh, spinning stuff is unrealistic. So we see spinning back fists all the time in fighting.
But I think he used the spinning kick.
Let's see, let's bring this down. Okay, so again.
In the unlife you rudely forced on my unwilling corp.
There's a jump.
Now let's slow it down. He winds up. It's a jump.
It's a jump. Bump.
That was the first slash. And now watch. His left leg moves as he hits.
It's like, and then leg.
Oh, that's yes.
Leg. He does.
Yes. Yes. But now, guys, what I want to ask you: how far could he fly from that distance? You're a karate black belt, so you can break that down.
If he did the push kick, it might be possible, but not that much. But the problem is, he did this. He was supposed to fall that way, not backwards.
Because if I do this, I'm hitting with the heel.
Yeah.
It's going this way. You should be flying. If I want you to go back, then it's like the Joe Rogan thing. It's going...
It's the most powerful kick, I think.
After he did that, he stayed in one place.
Right.
If he was supposed to do, he needs to break it through. If I do this is nothing.
Right.
If you want to go shirogiri, you need to go through the opponent. This stop, not realistic. My goal is to do this.
Go through.
Going through him. Right. And that's why he's gonna fly, because I'm generating the force into him. If I'm just doing this
and stop,
I'm gonna fall.
Isn't it correct that if I spin, I look first, and
Yes.
to generate the power, I need to look behind the shoulder?
Yes.
What I saw, it felt like he was here, and then he extended, which has much less power.
Little
If
to
I'm
no
doing
effect.
this.
Little to no effect, because you will fall. Unless he's using telekinesis.
Okay, so what do we have? Claws are fine. The usual breaking, the street fight,
Hunga bunga.
punch, hunga bunga thing works because he's got claws. And then this and this works. What about the actual gameplay? Aside of that kick, he has a kick in gameplay in Soul Reaver 2. Talked about since the base movement from both Soul Reaver games is essentially the same. Let's see, what did we say about these movements?
Now I remember.
Because you can see that now he's not breaking that rule with stepping.
No, he's just slashing, and maybe this one when he does this. Okay, uppercut.
Okay, this totally makes sense because he's a super powerful fictional wraith.
Yeah.
So cutting through with the opponent totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, like, cutting angles like that, how realistic do you think that is? So what he's doing is moving. Is it possible for a human being to move out of the way that fast? So if you throw this
For a boxer, yeah.
But I'm thinking it's not going to be circular like he does it, right? It should be
because he's
cutting.
yeah, that's it. That's better because he's exposing himself, and why he can expose himself because his surface. He's a spine. He's a spine. He's very thin.
I don't think I have the stomach for it.
He has that advantage to stay like this because you have a very little area, little space to actually hit him.
And I'm guessing he's very light because, as we remember in the first game, when you're moving the boxes to introduce the first puzzle ever, the Elder God essentially says that the laws of physics are now changed. Like, giant objects can be moved with ease.
Your physical prowess surpasses what you knew in life. Even massive obstacles can be moved effortlessly.
So when you think he's probably, like Legolas is supposed to be like paper thin or paper light, I guess. So I'm guessing that if somebody, you could do that if you were Raziel. And as you can see, unlike in that kick thing, they did watch for the legs. They didn't see him breaking that rule. It was correct, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't do an uppercut.
Yeah, and even when he was doing this, going through the chest, he did this.
If you're running, we've seen his solution when you're running, the cameraman's solution when you're running, what to do is
I'm on. Oh.
solution when he's running is this. Now, if I'm a teeny tiny lame-ass human like we are, like doing this, where I'm doing nothing. But if you stay here, right, With the claws, what do you think?
Claws, it works. The claws, it works.
Like imagine if you attack somebody's face just from stepping, right? Like we're here.
Someone's gonna do this because sharp objects are approaching.
Right.
That
But even
makes
if you
sense.
just scratch somebody with those claws, you could dislocate a fucking jaw, make the face bleed. Like for Raziel, that makes sense. For a human to do something like this.
No, because
It's like that Wing Chun thing that you...
You mean this thing?
Yes, exactly that.
Confirmed. Raziel is doing Wing Chun. Now I have my own personal idea where this part of the form, where it's the most useful, but we'll talk about that later.
So if I were in a shitty karate movie, if he were going at me like this, I would do this. Attacking someone like this.
No.
I don't see any effect. I see only damaging myself in the process.
But his kick, like you said, he does this.
He does this
And then
and
extends
that's
it. Right. That's pretty
okay.
cool. Because when you think, you don't want to make this apparent if you're doing that. Like, if you throw maybe one roundhouse and then you extend it, that's actually a pretty sneaky kick. And taking into account that he's got giant hooves, I don't think it would be fun to get hit like that. So.
Definitely not.
Another thing. Raziel is 6'2" tall.
Right. He used to be a chonky dude. And then, you know, all of this happened.
Bringing me back from the precipice of madness. The descent had destroyed me, and yet I lived.
Anyways, the last thing we want to do, there's barely any grappling. Usually that's how it goes in video games. But Raziel does grapple.
Unfettered from the flesh, a creature's soul fades swiftly into the spectral realm.
So, it's not possible for a person just to lift him up in the air and then lift him up above the head. Like, I can do maybe like this, as if it's like a body lock thing. So, other than like a deep double leg, maybe like a body lock with a nage type thing, we don't have a...
But he does it, he does
Right,
this.
right. Now,
And
again,
goes in the water.
Again, we said the laws, there is an in-game, in-lore explanation for it because of all the physics that are skewed. But what would be the best option where you do pick somebody above your head for real martial arts? I think it's only Katagruna, right?
Yeah, and that's what he usually does.
Right.
That spins you around.
Here. Boom. Now that's the closest thing that us lame-ass humans can perform. And now throw him in the water.
Or throw. But
Right.
throw.
And that's just in the if you're in the same category.
Right.
But if you are like flyweight and super heavyweight, then
maybe you can.
Then maybe you can.
Yeah. Or if you watch James Bond movie when there's a chick that lifts a guy and holds him like this. Yeah, superhuman strength. That's
Bruce Lee, Chinese Connection.
Human tornado.
Yeah, human tornado technique. With totally not obvious grappling dummies or dolls.
Yeah. Or assistance from the co-star.
Alright,
Now.
let's dispose of this vampire. Show me where the sun is. Oh, fuck! I waited for too long. Możemy, ale teraz nie czekaj, wyżej.
Ajde.